You're listening to 419 Education and Training Need to Connect podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Need to Connect podcast. I'm your host, Devonna Willis with 419 Education and Training and the founder and organizer of the Black Massage Therapist Conference. And today we have on Miss Danielle Douglas. She is an accountant and CPA, and she's going to be talking to you all about money and how to take care of your books. But before we get to that, just a little bit housekeeping in the beginning. All right, so the conference is coming up, so we're almost there. So remember to get your t-shirts. It's on the website. You can get them. I'll have some at the conference, but just in case, you can go to the website. Is I Am Black History, and then on the back it says Black Massage Therapist. So get that on the website. Also, your hotel, hopefully you have your hotel already set, and just make sure we're excited about the conference. We're revving it up, and we got some last minute things that we're trying to tend to. So we really appreciate you showing up. So now let's get into Miss Danielle. Hi, Danielle.
Hey, Devonna, thanks so much for having me.
No problem. So Danielle is my accountant and my CPA. So just so you know, just before we got on here, we had to clear some things up for my taxes. So she is great. I love her to death. And I'm gonna have her introduce herself, tell, our people about you, what you do, what you focus on, and how you could be of service to them.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I am Danielle Douglas. I am an accountant, owner, and founder of Infinite Accounting Services located in Palos Heights, Illinois. I love working with businesses. I'm a small business myself, entrepreneur. So I understand the struggles. I understand that you need balance, you need to be organized. And of course, you want to see profit in your business. I am a mom of one and four. My husband had four older children before we got married, and I have been married for 7 years now.
Oh, the
Uh,
lucky seven. It's so
yes,
lucky. I know. Well, it's really the 7 year itch. Sorry, it's the seven
yes,
year itch.
it is. It is.
I did have the itch. I did have the itch. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not even gonna. You're like, what? What am I doing again? Why am I here? What's happening? But go ahead. No, I'm sorry.
You are so silly. Uh, my specialty is helping businesses. Although I do offer tax services, I help clients with grants, not so much writing it, but you need like financials for grants, loans, you need financials for loans. So I'm like all service accounting firm, but my specialty is bookkeeping, accounting and bookkeeping, helping my clients get their books organized, keep them organized, know where their business stands,
Right.
make sure the business is profitable, and also finding those tax savings for businesses. So that is my love, that is my passion.
Mhm.
I'm hoping that I could be helpful on this podcast today.
Absolutely, you will. So one of the first things she said, you guys, she said organized.
Absolutely.
So organized your finances is very important. And so, there's been times like Danielle and I had to have some hard conversations because I'm like, what is going on? Let's dig into where the money's going, right, Danielle? I'm like, what's happening? Especially, and I'm gonna be upfront, when you have a conference, that's a whole different monster. Usually associations have conferences,
Yes.
big corporations have conferences.
Yes.
It's 419 Education and Training putting on a conference, right? And so I'm like, we have different budgets, right? We have different budgets for the conference and 419 separately because I really need to see where the money was going, how things were getting paid, and it's just a lot. And I'm so blessed to have her. And she found me on LinkedIn, right?
Yeah, I sure did.
And I happened to be in between. It was God, because I'm like, Lord, I was in between accountants at the time too. And I'm
Mhm.
like, there's no way I could do my books. It's just too much work. And then along with everything else I have going on, right? And so these are the things even when when I first started, let me just go back. Even when I started as a wellness center, and I was like, I don't have time to see clients and do my books. Like, who has time for that? So when I did find, earlier in the day, I think a bookkeeper, the way I would budget it to make sure I could pay her at the time was how many clients I need to make sure that she gets paid.
Right, right,
Like
right,
that was a specific. If I need one more client a week to make sure my bookkeeper get paid, I'm good. Because that's
right.
something I know I didn't want to do,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or
Mm-hmm.
what add-on do I need to add in order to pay, right? And so this is super important to have for your business. And then for Danielle, her looking at your books is definitely going to help keep you in order, especially our mobile massage therapist. So let's talk about that. So they're on the road, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're
Mm-hmm.
going to people's houses.
Yes,
So what I find in teaching and when I teach my business classes is that people are not counting for their gas and services that oil changes and different things they're going to need to upkeep
that's
their
right.
cars. So can you talk a bit about that and what they should be looking at or how you can help them with that?
And so when you said mobile services, it brought so many expenses to mind that a lot of people probably don't think about.
Mhm.
First thing is, like you said, transportation. Everything related to your car is a write off, from the oil change to any repairs that you get done, the gas that you put in there, even a car wash, keeping the car clean, the mileage. Definitely, the mileage is like your biggest expense that you need to keep up with on a daily basis when you are going to and from these homes to provide your services. And then it is everything that comes with you providing that service, like any equipment that you may be using, anything down to wipes to
Yeah.
sanitize.
Sanitize
Any
wipes, anything like that.
anything as small as that. These
Hmm.
are all expenses that you need to write off. Like if you are spending this money going to Walmart to purchase these things, then this is money that needs to be reimbursed back to you at the end
Right.
of the year.
Right.
So what else? Yourself. You are an expense.
Right.
You are your biggest expense. And I tell this to all my clients.
Hmm.
If you don't understand what that means, you started this business in order for you to provide a life for yourself.
Hmm.
So who should be the first person to get paid? You, yourself.
Right.
You should be the first one. You are an expense to the business and you need to pay yourself something. No matter how often you decide to do it,
Hmm.
you need to pay yourself something so that you are also an expense to your business to save on your taxes.
Hello, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share our 419 Education and Training Need to Connect podcast. What would you say to those people like, but I don't even know how to pay for myself or pay myself, or, by the time my expenses are all paid for, I don't really have nothing to pay for myself or pay towards myself?
And then that's where you need to start to budget. So if you find that you can't afford to pay yourself, then some of your costs needs to be cut.
Mm,
Because how are you going to live? How
right,
are you going to provide a roof over your head, clothes on your back, and food
right,
for nourishment for your body?
right.
You need to come first. So if you can't at least pay yourself, I want to say $100 a week. If
Hmm.
you can at least do that, then you need to start looking at a budget and budgeting what am I spending money on and where can I save?
Hmm.
Do I have over the amount of supplies and I could cut back on
Right.
spending this much on supplies because it's going to last me for a little while longer? Or, can I find a cheaper manufacturer that I could purchase these things from?
Okay.
So a budget was very important with figuring out where your money is going and where you could cut back.
I like that. What about now the brick and mortar people are like, well, don't leave us out. The people who actually had a space like me. I had a space. I didn't want to I didn't like mobile. You know, I need y'all to come to me. I need to go to one place and not
So
multiple places. What
that
about
was
those that have, brick and mortar? They may just have one office suite, or some people do have multiple office suites, but majority of people are renting like one office suites. How should they be looking at their budget or write-offs as well?
same thing. The only difference is you are paying rent. That's another expense that you're paying out to someone
Right.
in order for people to come visit you at this location. You can write off the mileage from you leaving home, coming to that rental space. You have, you,
Oh, I've heard before, and you can't.
yeah, you can because you're leaving your home, and this is a business expense for you to travel, to this location for you to provide a service. So and the same thing, your auto, all of the expenses that come with your auto. I said the rent, anything that you need within the location, like furniture. People need to come in and sit down. You need a desk, computer, your office supplies. You need pens and paper to write things down.
Yep.
All of things are expenses that you are able to write off at the end of the year. And again, if you find that, my overhead is just it's too much and I don't have enough to pay certain things, that's what a budget comes in. Like
Right.
you have to do a budget so that you can figure out where's all this money going and where can I cut?
Right.
Where can I
Right. Should people have two separate budgets, one for their personal expenses and one for their business expenses, or just one big budget? Especially like a sole proprietor, one person LLC. What would you say to that?
You definitely should have two separate budgets. The business has its own set of expenses,
Hmm.
just like you personally have your own set of expenses. Even as a sole proprietor, you still should treat it as a business that stands alone. So a business that stands alone is like its own person, its own entity. So it has its own income coming in and its own expenses that it is responsible for paying out. So you definitely need two separate budgets.
I agree. So, as a whole, the whole community, not just massage therapists, but the Black community, what do you see? What do you see some of the misconceptions in our community when it comes to accounting, taxes, budgeting? What are some of the misconceptions we typically have in our community?
Well, the first thing with bookkeeping is they don't feel like they need it. I don't
Mm,
need bookkeeping. What do I need bookkeeping for? I don't need a budget. What do I need to budget for?
mm,
I hear that a lot in our community, and it's sad because we are the ones who have the low credit scores. We are the ones who are not taught the values of paying things on time or making sure that you have enough money, not living above your means. Basically,
right.
you heard I say that all the time. Stop living above your means. Stop trying to live like the Jeffersons because you're not there. So that is the one thing I hear is them not, and I think it's just an understanding. They don't understand the importance of it because it hasn't been explained to them. And once they do get an understanding of it, then they find that it is very important. The other misconception is taxes. A lot of us do not understand why we have to pay taxes. We don't understand it. We don't want
Right.
to. Well,
Like my life is already a tax. Like me being here on this this earth, I'm being taxed just walking around as a Black person in these United States.
that's right. Like we want to find out why do we have to pay taxes?
Funny.
Well, I shouldn't have to pay it. I shouldn't even have to file a tax return. But we live in a country, and it's sad to say where this is our obligation, and we agreed to it. So we need to just accept it and move on.
Hmm. Like this, like it's no changing you having to pay tax.
No.
You have the biggest artists out here, going to jail for tax evasions, right?
Yes.
People,
Not
they don't
art,
play.
even actors,
Yep.
and
Oh yeah, entertainers, black, white, it don't matter. Hispanic,
you know,
like you don't pay. What I was just watching. Oh, So Kevin Hart has a show called Heart to Heart on Peacock.
I seen that.
And yeah, he had Ben Affleck on. That's his first for this season.
Mhm.
And I don't know. I was like, let me watch. I don't know nothing about Ben. Let me watch this.
Yeah.
And so one of the things he said when they, if you guys know this was back in the day. Him and Matt Damon wrote Good Will Hunting. You remember that
Mhm.
movie? It came out way. I don't remember. I would have to go back and look at it. Anyway, they were the youngest screenwriters at the time, and they got paid $650,000. So they was like, "Mama, we made it," right? And then so they split that in half, right? Because they both wrote it. So
Yeah.
they had three something. He's like within 8 months they were broke again because they didn't realize how much taxes they had to pay on that.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And they both like bought a new car. Like they said Jeep Cherokee back in the day. I was like, a Jeep Cherokee? That's how basic, he was. Like Jeep
That was,
Cherokee is what I want. I want the top of the line Jeep Cherokee.
that was a nice vehicle back then.
Right? So like they was like within months they was broke because taxes was like 100 some thousand. It was crazy. And yeah, they had to pay. They had to pay their
Yeah.
taxes, and it don't matter who you are because they're self-employed. They're considered self-employed. Actors are considered self-employed. Entertainers are
That's
self-employed. They are
that's
their bosses.
yeah. And you see how they understood that, and there was no, well, we just didn't pay it. No, they
Oh
understood it, and
yeah. Once he realized he had to pay, they paid it because he didn't want to go to jail. But yeah, they didn't know
they,
at first though. They were like, "What? Who said?" I think it was Kevin. I think he was like, "Who's FICA?" Or something crazy. Say something stupid. Like, who's this? Who's IRS? What they, Yeah, it's crazy because their tax. I rather not have to pay that type of taxes. That's
I agree.
right.
I Yeah.
Yeah. So
And other things, like you said, Kevin Hart said, "Who is the IRS?" We didn't grow up learning about the IRS. We didn't know anything about
right.
who is the
Why are they
IRS.
taking all this money?
Exactly.
My money I earn, right? Why are they taking my money I earn?
Yes. Yes.
It's
Agreed.
true. I think it was something on our taxes I used to question. I'm like, I think it was FICA. Because
On
I
your
mean,
paycheck.
other on the paychecks when I used to, work for somebody else, I'm like, what is FICA? Like, what is this?
Yeah, because you can make out the other ones, but that one, it's
That
like,
one,
what?
that one was a question for me. Like, who is FICA?
Yes. Yes.
And I'm like, I don't understand. And then, am I really gonna get my Social Security? Am I?
That's what we all are questioning right now. Who knows?
I'm like, am I really? So yeah. So no, I think this conversation is really important. Just period. Whether you're a massage therapist or not, right? Knowing your budget, and it could be tiresome, and it also could be like a gut punch. I'm not gonna front. It's plenty of times that myself or my husband looked at our budget. We're like, "But we gonna eat this? We gonna eat this, mom? Like, what's happening?" Because I've been a business owner for 12 years. And
That's
so it's been an up and down, and Jesus has been right here. Because I'm
right.
like,
That's right.
because a lot of times it didn't make sense on paper that we survived a year. Like, how did we get through it? It never makes sense.
Yes. Yes.
Like
I
for real, like I'm being honest. We just had this conversation. I'm like, sometimes I don't even know how we got out of it. On our
yes.
knees, on
That's
praying,
that's right. But
especially
that's
as a
one thing.
business owner. But yeah, because sometimes it just the pluses and minuses didn't make sense, and you're like, dang, and right, and then like don't have a kid, So if you have children,
That's
and
it.
if they are in any type of activity,
Yes.
you're
Yes.
like, how much is it for like this shoulder pads? And this is the rental. This is not even paying for the whole
Something that
thing.
you have
Oh.
exactly.
And then we have to pay, was it like 2 years ago? I was like, wait, so we have to pay the fee for the league.
Right. Hmm.
Then whatever team you were on, you got to pay their fee.
Right.
Then you
Right.
got to pay for the gear. I looked at my
Right.
son. I said, listen here. We almost a good G in, and we didn't even start the season. And I don't even know if you're gonna be that good. Sorry, I'm one of those moms. I'm real. I'm like, listen, this is a lot of money, but
Oh,
that's just being real. And then if you have multiple kids,
yes.
and sometimes you can't afford to do stuff like that.
No, because it's like paying a mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
About it. You're sacrificing paying a
Mm-hmm.
mortgage.
For real. You like, I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all gonna have to play together and be your own team.
Isn't that what we did?
We sure did. I looked at like I ran track, but it was like street track and then the summer camp track. Like I was fast. And I looked at my mom like, you could have invested a little bit more. I could have probably did some more with my track abilities, right?
Right.
And she was like, hmm. I was like, that's it. That's nice.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Same thing with dancing. I love dancing. I swore I was
Yes.
gonna be
Me
Janet
too.
Jackson. I thought
Yes.
I was gonna be one of her dancers. I loved it. And I was like, Ma, I wanna go to this dance class. What time is it? When? Saturday morning? Oh no. We gotta clean the house. I said, no. So here I am. Boom, 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 boom. In the house. Cause she wasn't paying, you know what I'm saying? She wasn't
Uh,
paying for it and it was budget. Like we didn't have I didn't grow up to for her to be able to do that at the time. You
yeah,
know?
it dawned on me until my daughter asked me last week. She was like, "Mom, you ever, go out for cheer?" And I was like, "No." And then I thought about it like, "No, I didn't do stuff like that. Like, we didn't have those advantages
No.
being on the sports team or cheer or
Yeah.
we didn't have those advantages. Go outside.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what we had."
And then but when my one of my brothers, he was able to do more, but they were giving grants.
Okay.
So he played basketball in New York, and if you know anybody knows in New York City, basketball is big, and so there was specific grants and stuff given, and so he was able to go on through a program with a grant and all that stuff, and because basketball is really big in New York, so that's how he was able to make it. But also too, when he went to college, she was like, "You better make sure you get a scholarship." Because at the time we was in a project. She was like, you better use this to get a
Exactly.
scholarship. And he did. He did. So, I'm not saying like we don't get the hardships because we've all been in it, have
Yeah.
gone through it, lived it. If not, God bless you that you haven't had that. But it's the truth, right? Because
Yeah.
overall, the black community, socioeconomic, we've always been on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
Agreed.
correct?
Yep. I agree with you. Yes.
Yeah. And so civil rights is mostly about socioeconomic freedom.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Yeah. So anything else that you want to talk about regarding budgeting? So when it comes to budgeting, I know one of the things that we've used is the Dave Ramsey, and I had mentioned this before with Austria. He's the investing guy, the financial guru. You'll meet him then. But we've used Dave Ramsey, the Everyday Dollar
Mhm.
app to help budget. Is there any apps that you have or just regular like spreadsheets that you would suggest?
Well, definitely a spreadsheet if you are, a spreadsheet guru. But if you're into apps, there are a few. Intuit has a budgeting app which is free. Off the top of my head, I can't remember the other ones, but if you just Google budgeting apps. It'll bring up a ton of different budgeting apps that you could use. And the advantage is you can connect your bank account to it. You can connect your credit cards to it, even car loans now and credit
Nice.
cards. They allow you to bring in all of this information so that they can see like what your net worth is, which is, how much debt do you have versus what do you have available that you
Mm-hmm.
could use, to invest in something. So if you use one of those apps, I promise you it'll change your life. I promise it will make you more conscious of your spending because that's what it's about.
Right.
Because in a minute, we're not looking at our bank accounts every day. And I get this question all the time. You said that I made $40,000 in 1 month, but where did it go? The first
I
question
I know.
out of all of my clients, that is the first question that I hear. Where did it go?
Where's it at? I don't see it.
Right. Well, let's go over,
Right.
your financials so that I can show you where this $40,000 went because you're not consciously thinking about what your balance is on a
Mm-hmm.
daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at it, you just know there's some money in there and you can spend it. That's all you know. So you're spending it,
Right.
you know. But when you have this app, it allows you to see where your money's going. It's this cute little pie and it breaks it out into,
Yes.
categories.
I feel
So
like
you can,
some banks do that. I know Chase does that.
Chase does have one too.
Chase,
Yep.
yeah, Chase has that.
Yep.
Not for
And I
the
think
personal, but for the business. Or maybe for the personal too. I think they have it for both.
I think they do too is something new that they just started.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I'm like, okay, Chase, thank you.
Yes, where it will amaze you how where all your money's going. And
Mm-hmm.
majority of people, it's in meals because it's so quick, it's so fast, and and it's on your way home. But that pie, that biggest area is usually meals. But it
Mm.
lets you know where your spending is going, so you can be more conscious of where your money is going, and you can spend less of it because that's what it's about.
Right. On
Yeah.
that note, so being conscious of where your money is going, right? So isn't there like a percentage of how much you should be spending on like your rent and mortgage? Like I think it's 40%. You know those percentages like I think I heard it like on Dave Ramsey years ago. Like there's supposed to be like 30% or 40% on your living expenses, then this percent on your debt and this percent. You ever heard of that?
I know with the living is 30%.
Okay.
The other percentages, I'm not quite
How
sure.
it broken down. Okay, but 30% of somebody, let's make a real number. You're a mathematician. So let's
Yeah.
say
Let's say that your rent is $1,000.
okay.
You need to make 3 times that amount, which means you need to make $3,000 per month in order to be able to afford $1,000 in rent.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you think about 30%, 3 times the amount, and that when people are thinking about stuff like that, they're like, wow.
Yes. Yes. That's what I said. Jesus be right here because sometimes she was like, the math don't be mathing on the paper.
Exactly.
Right? It's
Yes,
true. Cause you like three
exactly.
times and people like, I make like 2,500 and my mortgage or my rent is like 15. You
Yes.
see?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now
Yes.
across the country, because it's not just here, it's everywhere. Everywhere rent is going up like crazy.
Sure is.
And
Mhm.
with that said, like real life, what should people do if that's the case? If 30% is should go towards rent or mortgage, and
And
they already make, say if their rent is like 1,500 or 16 or 17 or even 2,000, what should they be doing? Should they be working more hours? Should they have a part time like to make up? Because that's just one bill. We didn't
yeah,
talk about gas, electric, all the utilities, depending on what they're responsible for.
yeah, definitely try to find something on the side. There's a lot of side gigs that you could pick up, driving jobs, There's a lot of online jobs that are available now. Definitely try to pick up something on the side in order to afford that. I'm not quite sure. Like, I know jobs now have to raise rates because of
The
the
living expenses.
well, it's the living and it's the minimum wage.
Oh yeah.
Minimum wage has increased. So you can't, your jobs cannot pay you under the minimum wage amount. They're not supposed to. If they do, you need to talk to the labor boards about it. But I know some jobs are not increasing, in pay to accommodate you for the increase in the food and the gas and everything else around us. But there are a lot of side gigs that you could do to make some extra money. Start a business. Me and Devonna, that would probably be our advice to anybody. Start a business, start your own, write your own ticket so that you can determine how much you should be paid. But
Make sure you guys still do two different budgets though. Remember, she said you
that's
can't
right.
you can't have the business budget on your personal budget.
That's right. That's right.
So, but I
But
would say start a business, but still have your regular job if you have one, and build your business until you'll be able to sustain both.
that's right. That's
Right?
right.
Yeah,
Yep.
but that
Yep.
30%, that's important. So, if any takeaway, you guys need to sit down and do your math and really look at it, and or contact Danielle. Right. So
Yes.
we'll have
So
her information below, but we'll also, she's also presenting at the conference. And so I'm excited. She's also going to have a vendor table. So if you need to talk to her even more, to have that one on one to talk about different things that you maybe, issues you may have. One more thing I want to, before we end, is anything specifically they need to know regarding taxes. So we talked a lot about budgeting and bookkeeping during taxes. It makes it easier. I know that much. If you already have your books tight and right when it comes to
yeah.
the tax part, it's just literally just moving things over. But anything they
Also,
need to focus on?
personally and business, just try to stay as organized as you can. If you don't think that bookkeeper is in your budget or is something that you feel is important to you, at least try to do it for yourself. There are other apps out there. Wave software, I had to throw that out there. And that's another one that's really good for keeping up with business, finances and keeping it organized because every penny, every dime counts when it comes to writing off, for taxes to save on your taxes. If you are self employed, try the best that you can to put some money to the side because there is an additional tax that you are charged as a self employed person that a lot of people don't know about. So you can, set aside $50, $100 a month just to go towards that self employment tax at the end of the year.
Business is real.
It sure is.
Not for the faint at heart. Not for the faint at heart. So I'm like, you want me to do what? This is me and Carla having a conversation at a conference. That's more work and more taxes, more
Yes.
budgeting. As we talking, I'm like, I got like three different budget sheets. We
Bridget,
got a
you sure?
personal one, the 419 regular, and then the conference.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Man. So, but I just want to say thank you so much, Danielle, for coming on this week's podcast. It was enlightening. I hope everyone takes some good takeaways from what you said and what we discussed. And also attend the conference and attend her class. She's going to be speaking, I believe, the second day in the afternoon. So I think, I don't remember, sorry, but she'll be there regardless in the vendor
Yes.
hall as well as speaking. So you will have more than enough opportunities to speak with her. And I thank you. You've been a blessing to me and my family. And I just want to say thanks.
Thank you. I appreciate you more than you'll ever know.
Oh, thank you. And you guys will see you next week. And the conference is coming up. So remember to go to the website, www.blackmassagetherapist.com, for any information, the schedule, look at the speakers, and register if you haven't. All right. See you soon. Bye.